We often see lives that look absolutely perfect from the outside. A happy family, nice house, good careers.
Yeah, the whole package.
But what happens when, behind that shiny surface, things start to crack? When hidden conflicts fester and eventually explode into something truly awful.
It's a chilling thought. And today, that's exactly what we're going to explore. A really compelling and deeply sad case.
Right. We're going to carefully recount the story of how a seemingly ideal American family fell apart, leading to a devastating crime.
We'll look at the facts, the different stories, the evidence, trying to piece together what really happened to Rebecca Bliefnick. She was a nurse, a mother. Her life was cut short so tragically.
And we've gathered information from, detailed investigative reports, true crime accounts, and there's even this really strange, almost unbelievable detail from a famous game show.
Which took on a whole new meaning later, didn't it?
It really did. So let's start at the beginning. Rebecca Bliefnick, or Becky as most people called her, was born back in November 1981 in Quincy, Illinois. She sounds like she was just a really compassionate person.
Yeah, worked as a nurse at Blessing Hospital, very dedicated.
She had a biology degree from Quincy University, even won an award for nursing excellence, the Daisy Award. And she volunteered too. Just seemed like a genuinely good person.
A very selfless individual by all accounts.
And then there's Timothy Bliefnick, Tim, born in '84, also in America. Grew up in a well-off family, only child.
Bit of a different background. He was a college football player.
Right. And after college, he started his own business, a recycling company. Seemed pretty successful.
Mm-hmm.
So Becky and Tim met at Quincy University. Didn't date right away, though.
No, it was, about 2 years after they graduated, they reconnected then.
Fell in love, got married in 2009. They went on to have 3 kids. And honestly, from the outside looking in, they look like the perfect American family.
The dream, really.
But it's disturbing how that image started to crumble. Seems like things shifted around the 6-year mark of their marriage.
Yeah, that's often a pressure point, isn't it?
Becky went back to nursing at Blessing Hospital. This was especially during the height of COVID-19, a really tough time for healthcare workers.
Right. And Tim apparently wasn't thrilled about it initially, worried she was working too much, maybe.
That's what was said. Then they separated in January 2021, after 11 years together. And this is where the stories really diverge.
2 completely different versions of why it ended.
Exactly. Tim's side was that Becky changed after going back to work. He described her as becoming hot-tempered, irritable, and less patient.
Blaming it on work stress affecting home life.
Yeah, he claimed they argued all the time and he just wanted to protect the kids from the conflict.
Okay, that's his perspective.
But Becky's story, the one she told her friends and her sister Sarah, it was much, much darker.
What did she say?
She said Tim was becoming increasingly aggressive, yelling at her, pushing her even in front of the children, throwing...
Rose. Wow. That's serious.
She was scared. Scared for herself and the kids. She even told people she suspected Tim might have mental health issues because his behavior was so erratic, so unpredictable.
That must have been terrifying for her.
And then there's this text message she sent to a friend. It gives me chills just thinking about it. She wrote, "If anything happens to me, know that Tim is the #1 suspect."
Oh my God. She actually wrote that.
She did. A clear premonition of her fear.
That is incredibly haunting. So she felt she was in danger. Did she try to get help?
She definitely tried. She wanted them to go to counseling, but Tim refused.
He wouldn't go.
Nope. So Becky took steps on her own. She consulted with a domestic abuse organization. She even tried to get a restraining order against Tim.
And what happened with that?
The court denied it. Can you believe it? Denied the restraining order. They just ordered them to live separately.
Just live separately. That doesn't feel like enough protection if she was that scared.
Not at all. And then, kind of sandwiched in the middle of all this rising tension, there's this very public moment. Tim appeared on Family Feud.
Wait, the Family Feud. With Steve Harvey.
The very same. It was taped back in April 2019, but it aired in January 2020. So right around the time Becky was saying the marriage was really deteriorating.
Okay, that timing is interesting. What happened on the show?
Well, Steve Harvey asked Tim the question, "What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?"
Oh, boy. That's a loaded question on national TV.
Right. And Tim paused for a second. Then he says, "Saying I do."
He actually said that.
He did. The full quote was apparently, "Honey, I love you, but said I do." The audience laughed. Steve Harvey laughed. It was played off as a joke.
Just a typical game show gag, you'd think.
At the time, yes. But looking back, knowing what Becky was going through, knowing what she told her friends, that joke feels incredibly dark. Sinister, even.
It lines up exactly with when she said things were going bad. That's unsettling.
Deeply unsettling. It makes you pause and think about those seemingly harmless comments people make, doesn't it?
Absolutely a very dark foreshadowing.
And tragically, just over a year after that episode aired, the situation escalated to the absolute worst outcome imaginable. February 23, 2021.
The day she was found.
Yes. And it was Tim himself who initiated the call that led to the discovery. He called Becky's father, his former father-in-law, saying he couldn't get hold of Becky.
So he acted concerned.
He did. Becky's dad was worried, so he went over to her house, and what he found was horrific. Becky was dead on her bathroom floor. She'd been shot multiple times.
Oh, God. Her own father found her?
Yes. He immediately called 911.
And the kids? Where were the kids?
Thankfully, they weren't there. They were safe at Tim's house that day, spared from witnessing that absolute horror.
Thank goodness for that small mercy. What did the police find at the scene?
It was brutal. They determined Becky had been shot 14 times.
14.
14. They think maybe 15 shots were fired in total, one missed. It was incredibly violent.
That number, it speaks to rage, doesn't it? Not just a quick act.
Exactly. And there were definite signs of a struggle. Her phone was found, and it looked like she'd pressed 911 and then 2 and 6.
Trying to call 911?
It seems overwhelmingly likely. Like she was trying to call for help right when the attacker got to her.
How did the attacker get in?
Police found evidence of forced entry. A window on the second floor in one of her son's bedrooms had been pried open. They think a garden bench was used to reach it.
So not through the front door. Someone broke in.
Deliberately broke in. And her bedroom door was heavily damaged, like kicked in or forced open. This wasn't random.
Definitely targeted. They went straight for her room.
It seems she likely fled from her bedroom into the bathroom.
Yeah?
Which unfortunately was a dead end. That's where she was cornered and shot.
Trapped.
Yeah. And importantly, nothing of value was taken from the house. No signs of robbery at all, which again points away from a random break-in.
Right, robbery wasn't the motive.
The investigators were meticulous. They found 9mm shell casings on the floor. They noted footprints on the carpet. And they found these odd, small fragments of plastic scattered around Becky's body.
Plastic fragments? What kind?
They weren't sure at first, but they collected everything. Every little piece could be a clue.
Absolutely. Every detail matters in something like this.
And surveillance footage quickly became critical. A neighbor's garage camera caught someone suspicious.
What did it show?
Around 1:05 a.m., it captured someone walking towards Becky's backyard. Then, about 48 minutes later, the same figure leaving. The video quality wasn't great, couldn't make out who it was.
But the timing is crucial.
Very. And that same neighbor gave the police another vital piece of information.
Where?
About a week before the murder, February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
They saw someone looking very similar lurking around Becky's house. The neighbor actually warned Becky about it.
Oh, wow. So Becky knew someone had been watching her house.
Yes, she'd been warned. But tragically, it wasn't enough to stop what happened.
That's heartbreaking. A mischance, almost.
It feels that way. Then there was more footage from a city bus garage camera.
What did that show?
It showed someone riding a blue bicycle towards Becky's house and then returning about 48 minutes later. The timing matched the neighbor's camera perfectly.
A bicycle in February in Illinois.
Exactly. That detail stood out. People just don't typically ride bikes around there in the middle of winter, especially not late at night. It was unusual.
Very unusual. So you've got forced entry, a targeted attack, no robbery, someone lurking beforehand, someone on a bike. Where did the investigation go next? How did Tim become the main focus?
Well, with the background of the messy divorce, the custody battle, and Becky's own stated fears, Tim was naturally looked at very closely from the start.
The estranged husband is often the first person police consider in these situations.
Right, and the evidence started pointing more directly his way. Remember that blue bicycle?
Yeah, the one seen on the bus camera.
Police found it, abandoned less than half a block from Tim's house. And it didn't have any reflective strips, which is maybe a minor detail, but noted.
Okay, found near his house. That's suspicious.
But here's the kicker. They traced that bike back to a Facebook Marketplace listing. Someone trying to sell it under the name John Smith.
John Smith? Sounds fake.
It was. Police confirmed it was a fake account set up and used by Tim Bliefnick. He was trying to get rid of the bike after the murder.
Wow. Okay, that's not just suspicious. That's actively trying to cover tracks.
Precisely. Then, remember those little plastic fragments found near Becky's body?
Yes. The mystery plastic.
Investigators figured it out. They were pieces of an Aldi shopping bag.
Aldi? Like the grocery store, why would that be there?
The theory was that the killer used the bag, or maybe multiple bags, wrapped around the gun to try and muffle the shots, like a makeshift silencer.
A homemade silencer using shopping bag.
That was the theory. And guess where police found more Aldi bags?
Let me guess. Tim's house.
You got it. Found Aldi bags at Tim's home. Another link connecting him to the specific method they believe was used.
Okay, the connections are getting stronger. Any direct physical evidence?
Yes. And this was huge. They found Tim's DNA under Becky's fingernails.
Under her nails, that means.
It strongly suggests a struggle. That Becky fought back, likely scratched him, maybe when she was trying to make that 911 call. It put Tim physically at the crime scene in direct contact with her during her final moments.
That's incredibly damning evidence. Hard to explain away.
Very hard. Plus, they found a crowbar at Tim's house.
And the window was pried open.
Exactly. They suspected that crowbar was the tool used to force entry into Becky's home.
The physical evidence is mounting. What about digital evidence?
Oh, his internet search history was...
Yeah.
Well, it was basically a confession roadmap.
What did he search for?
Things like how to open a door with a crowbar.
Okay, matches the crowbar in the window.
Also, how to make a homemade silencer for a handgun.
Matches the Aldi bag theory.
And chillingly, how to clean gunpowder off hands.
Wow. He was literally researching how to commit the crime and clean up afterwards. That shows clear premeditation. Planning.
Absolutely screamed premeditation. This wasn't a crime of passion. It looked meticulously planned.
And the gun itself, those 9mm casings?
Right, the casings found at Becky's house. They matched 27 other 9mm casings found at Tim's house.
So the same type as ammunition. Did they find the gun and link it to him?
They did link the type of gun.
Yeah.
And the story of the gun is perhaps the most tragic, ironic twist in all of this.
How so?
The 9mm pistol used to kill Becky. It was a gift from Becky to Tim.
She gave him the gun that he used to... Oh, that's just sickening.
It's horrific. The weapon he used to end her life was something she had given him.
So the physical evidence, the digital evidence, the circumstantial evidence, it all points squarely at Tim. But why? What was the ultimate motive driving all this?
Beyond the marital breakdown, the prosecution argued the core motive, the real explosive reason, was about the children. Child custody.
The custody battle was already ongoing, right?
Yes, but Becky had discovered something devastating. Something she was ready to use.
What was it?
She found out that Tim's father, Ray Bliefnick, the children's grandfather, had a criminal history. A history involving child sexual abuse.
Oh my God. The grandfather.
Yes. And Becky wasn't just aware. She was preparing to present this information in family court.
Which would have completely changed the custody case.
Absolutely. It would almost certainly mean Tim would lose custody, perhaps permanently. She was going to argue he couldn't protect the children if his own father posed such a risk.
So for Tim, this wasn't just about losing the kids some of the time. This was about potentially losing them entirely and his family's reputation being destroyed.
That's what the prosecution argued. That this discovery, this threat of exposure and losing his children was the final desperate trigger. The motive to eliminate Becky, permanently silencing her and her evidence.
An absolutely chilling motive.
So the case went to trial. Started May 23, 2023. The prosecutors, George Kolb and Laura Deck, laid out all this evidence we've discussed, the bike, the DNA, the searches, the motive. A really strong circumstantial and physical case.
What did the defense argue? How did they try to counter that?
They tried to poke holes, naturally. Questioned if the DNA under her nails could have come from consensual contact earlier. Claimed Tim didn't even know Becky had that gun, let alone used it. They tried to paint Becky as angry and vindictive, making false accusations because Tim filed for divorce first.
Trying to discredit her character.
Yes. But it was hard to overcome the sheer weight of the evidence. And then there was the victim impact statement from Becky's sister, Sarah.
That must have been incredibly emotional.
Immensely powerful. Sarah spoke directly about Becky's fear, imagining her final moments, her desperate concern for her children. She looked right at Tim and accused him of causing all this suffering.
What did she say specifically?
One of the most impactful lines was when she said to Tim, instead of Googling how to make a homemade silencer, you should have Googled PTSD in children because your children are now living with that.
Wow. Just gut-wrenching. Pointing out the lasting trauma he inflicted.
Exactly. The judge, Robert Adrian, clearly wasn't swayed by the defense either. When delivering the verdict, his words were incredibly stark.
What did the judge say?
He addressed Tim directly. Mr. Bliefnick, you researched how to murder. You planned out the murder. You went to her house, and you shot her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. Just counting out the shots like that.
Yeah.
Emphasizing the brutality.
Leaving no doubt about his view of the evidence and the act itself.
None at all. On August 11th, 2023, Tim Bliefnick was found guilty of first-degree murder.
And the sentence.
3 life sentences, without the possibility of parole. 2 counts for the murder itself, and 1 for the home invasion aspect. So, justice, in terms of the legal system, was served relatively quickly.
And the children, what happened to them?
Becky's sister Sarah and her family stepped up. They've taken custody of all 3 children and promised to raise them as their own.
That's good to hear. At least they're with family who loves them, who Becky trusted.
Yes, a small solace in such a terrible tragedy. This whole case is just such a stark reminder of how horribly wrong things can go behind closed doors.
Yeah.
A marriage breaks down, conflict escalates, and ends in the ultimate violence. The loss of a mother, a nurse, someone with her whole life ahead of her.
It really is a somber story with profound implications.
So we've walked through the timeline, the breakdown of the marriage, the horrific crime, and the evidence that ultimately convicted Tim Bliefnick.
It really forces you to think about those perfect exteriors people present to the world.
It does. What does this case really tell us about obsession, about control, about the devastating consequences when conflict isn't resolved, when it turns toxic?
And the warning signs that might have been missed or weren't acted upon forcefully enough.
Right. It leaves you with a difficult question, doesn't it? In a world where relationships can sour so dramatically, where conflict can lead to such extremes, how well do we truly know the people closest to us?
And maybe more importantly, what can be done? How can we better protect people who find themselves in dangerous, toxic situations like Becky did?
It's a heavy thought to end on. We really hope this recounting of events has given you something to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Thank you for listening.
If you found this story compelling, or if you follow true crime, please consider liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, Horror Doc. We bring you unsettling cases like this regularly.
We'll be back soon with another story.
Until then, please stay safe out there.